I remember growing up learning, for instance, that certain weather sucks, like rainy days, right? When it's all gray out there, when specifically in autumn, the fall time and everything, when it's all gray out there and everything just looks like it's dead. It's crazy. And as I heal, I try to become more and more aware of things like that I've learned that have really led me to see things in a very specific way. Is there anything wrong with rainy days? Does that weather actually suck? This goes back to black and white binary thinking, this or that, splitting, right? And the reason why I challenge this is because it actually affects other or all areas of life, right? The way that you see something and the way that you perceive it, the way that you approach it, creates the experience. And I remember just, layers and layers and layers and layers after experience and experience and experience and experience of just like learning what is good and what is bad, right? Opposite ends of the spectrum, right? And I feel that what I'm trying to do now is to look at things from much more of like a neutral standpoint, integrate both the good and the bad, and in fact like try to see things as less of good or bad and more of just like what is. I remember when I first started reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and I was introduced to, I guess I would consider it like a context, a way of saying something. Um, and this kind of like takes things out of the black or white thinking or the black and white thinking. Um, but he was approaching things from the standpoint of there's just what is in life. Whatever it is that we've learned, like whatever categories we've learned to put things in, take them out of those things and re-examine them and just realize that this is just what is. It's neither good nor bad, right? Um, and this is not to exempt like things that I guess I would consider, and of course in clinical terms, to be like actually like in the case of negative, something being bad, a person being bad, intentions being bad. That's a different story. But for a majority of things, there are usually vast generalizations about things that people learn. And, like for instance, like today, it's a sunny day. I would argue that from what I've learned and what I've experienced, a majority of people would look at this day, look, it's so sunny that it's like the lighter areas are just blown out. Um, a day like today, by a majority of people, would be considered a nice day, a beautiful day, a good day, right? And then you go on the weather, you look at everything, and it's like, maybe a day or two later, it's rain or storms. It's just becoming aware of how a person sees these things is what's necessary. That's really just like what this is all about. More so stepping outside of black and white thinking and stepping more so into the present moment and just being present with what is. I can imagine that a lot of people probably already know this, but the mind and all of its ideas and all of its conditioned belief systems can be very seductive, right? That's comfort and familiarity. You can play in that realm all you want. You can get stuck there if you want to. But I don't think that it tells a whole lot about life. Like, you could say that a rainy day is bad, right? That does not say anything about a rainy day. It just implies that the person who's experiencing it thinks it's bad because they have a negative experience with it, which actually I would argue is more so rooted in how they were conditioned rather than how they're allowing themselves to experience it. Based on what it is that we learn earlier on in life, we place filters of perception over things, and we tend to see them in those ways, right? And it can be very hard to remove those filters of perceptions, especially when that's all that it is that a person has ever known based on what they've learned. But the reason why I'm bringing this whole thing up of like a rainy day being considered as, sucky or just like bad weather, I'm at this point in my life now where I'm becoming aware of splitting and black and white thinking, and seeing things as it's either this or it's that, right? And what I'm trying to do right now is integrate much more of like a balance, right? And kind of remove the ways that I have previously seen things, and just allowing the, because like, here's the thing, this is a thing, right? Obviously there's nothing there, it's just my fingers, but this is a thing, right? Imagine that there's something there, right? I might have preconceived notions about whatever this thing is based on what I've learned earlier on in childhood. And oftentimes that has to do with splitting, because I look at it and it's like, ooh, that's not good. That's really not good. Well, what is it? What is it? And then there are all these ideas attached to that thing of what it is, and like what it is might not even be like what it is. Like what it is might have to do with what grandma or grandpa or mom or dad instilled in a person's mind regarding this thing or that thing based on their own experiences. This is actually why individuation and differentiation are so important in any individual's life, because people need to be able to, and I'm on my journey. I am in no way perfect. I'm not there. I'm not superior to anyone. I'm still learning. But it's a healthy thing for people to be able to form their own, you know, perceptions, opinions, beliefs, ideas, likes, dislikes, wants, and needs. Not just like go by what it is that they learned earlier on in life. It's completely essential to question everything and to really look at things for yourself. Pick it up. Oh, what is that? That's interesting. It's kind of rough. The colors. Wow. Just like take some time to get to understand whatever it is that because years and years of development in a system where you're not allowed individuation, differentiation, you're going to get sucked into the same beliefs that you were brought up with, that you were instilled with. And it's actually not going to be encouraged to have that sense of individuality to, while the entire system sees this as completely fucking awful and terrible and bad, right? You take the time to, just, I'm going to pick this one up and I'm going to look at it. What is that? I've never seen that before. Huh. Just like look at it and take the time to, try to remove the labels of good or bad from it and really just, see it for what it is. Because going back again to what Eckhart says, life just is. Like, the mind labels things all the time, and oftentimes it is very in that way, that imbalanced way of splitting. It's either good or bad. It's either right or wrong. It's either up or down. It's either in or out. It's whatever it is. Like, the mind is very good with that, and it will try to get you sucked into the seductive comfort and familiarity of what it is that you were raised with. it's kind of like, you know, whenever you're doing something in life, whatever it is that you choose to pursue, whatever endeavor it is, oftentimes it's from a place of comfort and familiarity. Well, that's just the way that my parents did it, so that's the way that I'm going to do it. Well, that's what that's what my parents did, so that's what I'm going to do, right? Really taking the time to form a conscious self with conscious and understood flavors and genres of opinions and beliefs and likes, dislikes, wants, needs, all that stuff. It's just absolutely crucial, especially just for the development. But I'm really doing the best that I can to step outside of the black and white and to, it's kind of like as the years have gone by, I'll end off with this. As the years have gone by, layers and 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 layers of ideas and beliefs and perceptions and this and that from other people, other people's voices have been laid on top of many different things for me. And right now what I'm doing is I'm pulling back those layers one by one, seeing what's underneath them, and really doing the best that I can to, unlearn, but then as well consciously form new perceptions of things based on my own personal experience of observation. And just like kind of, what is this thing? Wow. What is a rainy day? Is a rainy day really terrible? Is it that awful? Is that just a belief that I learned growing up in childhood that was so fucking hardwired into my mind? Do I need to unwire that and create a new idea for myself because that's healthy? That's where I'm at right now, and